Welcome back to another redraft of the past, as today we take a look at the 2019 class. Hashtag bars, but what's cracking lacking? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content as always. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football Discord. Special thanks to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring the video. They currently got Best Ball Mania going on. They really do. There's $15 million available in cash prizes, and if you feel like you're good at fantasy football, then check out Underdog Fantasy. They will match your first deposit up to $100 when you use promo code Broshmo to sign up. But as always, remember to bet responsibly, and let's get this sucker started, because we're gonna take this first pick for a freaking whirl. We really are, because it's too easy to say Kyler Murray. It really is. He's probably the only quarterback I think I'd be willing to take in the top 10 at this point in this draft class. And I'm going to admit to y'all, this draft class at a certain juncture falls off a cliff. At a certain point, it gets to a point where I'm like, the players available are okay, but not great. But with this first pick, listen, Kyler Murray, I think, is the right choice. I really do. But with the current uncertainty, with him being a franchise quarterback, perhaps the cards are like, let's give Josh Rosen one more whirl, and let's actually give him some playmakers, because there's a ton of playmakers in this class. We're going to take A.J. Brown first overall. I know it's wild, but let's see how this redraft goes. I wanted to do something a little different. It's too easy just to do Kyler Murray. It's the right choice, but it's too easy. Maybe let's give Josh Rosen a chance. But we're not changing this next pick, because the right player was taken. Nick Bosa is a freaking monster. He was the correct pick, and we're going to take him at number 2 overall. The question is, how far does Kyler Murray slide? Because we're sitting here with Sam Darnold. I don't know why I said it like that. Sam Darnold. So, we got to ask ourselves, maybe we should give him more weapons? I don't know. Perhaps, because like the best receiver he currently has is Robbie Anderson. Now, what is it? Choice Anderson? I don't know, something like that. So let's continue to give him playmakers. Let's give him a freak in DK Metcalf. So we got 2 receivers off the board in the top 3. Nuts. So this was the draft where the Raiders had 3 first-round picks. And we're going to try to do it better. They got Derek Carr. Let's figure it out from there. They traded away Khalil Mack. And you know what was the best pick the Raiders made in this draft class? It was Maxx Crosby. And we're going to make that, because he ain't making it out of the top 10. I don't know if he makes it out of the top 5. So we're just going to go ahead and select Maxx Crosby, have him be our first pick. And we'll go from there, man. We'll go from there. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this pick was weird, because Bruce Arians becomes the head coach in January. We know in hindsight, Jameis Winston isn't going to resign. And after the 2019 season, this team will get Tom Brady. But how much hindsight am I really playing with here? And this is going to be the hindsight is, I know what these prospects become, where they are at now. I'm not going to play like I know Tom Brady is about to be on this squad, which means I know Jameis Winston, we're not going to want to re-sign him. Let's go ahead. Let's Bruce Arians, new coaching staff. Let's get our quarterback of the future. Kyler Murray going to the Bucs. There we go. Which now makes this Giants pick a little tougher. I don't want to take Danny Dimes here. I'll think about it at 17. I'm not taking him here. If for some reason I don't take him at 17, because it's like, again, I'm gonna be thinking about that there. It's like, do I really want to just be like, okay, let's just get Danny Dimes? I don't know. I'm just saying I'm not taking him here. So worst case scenario, Eli Manning will be my quarterback next year, and we'll be picking 2nd overall, maybe first. But if I want to really maybe make things work, maybe get a guy who's freaking phenomenal after the catch. And there is a receiver who is phenomenal after the catch in this class named Deebo Samuel. So we're going to take him here. Now we got 3 wide receivers in the top 6. Already, the things are looking interesting. They're looking interesting, and we're not going to stop. This defense for the Jags is stacked. It's stacked. They currently got Nick Foles. Let's maybe give Nick Foles his Alshon Jeffrey in the form of Terry McLaurin, because the receivers in this class were absolutely ludicrous. They really were. They really were. Now, we might not see a receiver for a little bit. I feel like now the drop-off is kind of immense. We got Hollywood Brown. I think Deontay Johnson's probably the only other guy I maybe consider. Hunter Renfrow? Probably not. So, yeah, we're going to see a drop-off at receiver. The good receivers, they're all top 10 receivers now. They're not available on the board. They're gone. Detroit Lions, this originally was what? TJ Hawkinson, right? Yeah, it was TJ Hawkinson. We're not doing that. We're not. This team was stacked at some spots, not on defense. Like the secondary, honestly, not that bad. You look at the pass rush, kind of non-existent. Really is. So, like, they got Romeo Okwara, who's okay. Trey Flowers, just grossly overpaid, didn't end up panning out. So maybe we take a look at a guy we could develop and maybe just emerges huge on the scene in year 2. That's what I'm doing. I'm taking Rashawn Gary. Things getting a little crazy. I feel like people with him hurt this year forget how good he actually was. All right, so Buffalo Bills, apparently they wanted to move up to get Quinnen Williams. And while we didn't do trades, if you didn't know, I'm using the original draft order going into the draft because I feel like it's fairer than using the draft order of it after, because those teams specifically traded up because certain players fell. We don't know how this is going to play out. So going into the draft, this is the draft order. So apparently they wanted to move up for Quinnen Williams. That didn't happen. They got Ed Oliver. So Quinnen Williams is available here, but he's not going to be the guy I'm taking. I'm actually going to go ahead and snag who I think is one of the best interior players in the league. In Jeffrey Simmons, that's the guy. He is him. I love Jeffrey Simmons. He was actually one of my favorite prospects in that draft class. The Denver Broncos, I'm not going to lie to y'all, I thought about quarterback maybe. They got currently what? I think it was it Case Keenum? No, it wasn't Case Keenum, was it? Can't remember who their quarterback was at the time, but you do look and you do see that this offensive line starts to fall off after this season with Juwan James getting banged up. Ronald Leary, his last year ends up being this season. They get Dalton Risner in this class, but I'm going to do one better. I'm going to get a guy that can really play any position on the offensive line, in my opinion. And I'm going to snag Eldon Jenkins, man. The dude's a monster. Totally worth the top 10 pick. And now I have to sit here and think. I'm not taking Jonah Williams. Listen, this tackle class ain't it. I think they got a bunch of guys I'm willing to take at the back end of the first round. Jonah Williams, Jawan Taylor, Andre Dillard. I consider Risner a guard. We got Caleb McGarry, Titus Howard. I'll think about those guys at the back end of the first round. I'm not taking them at 11. So then what do we do for the Bengals? And I was looking at the roster. Geno Atkins only had a couple of years left in the tank in him. And Quinnen Williams is kind of too good to pass up, so I'm going to take him here. The Green Bay Packers. So they miss out on Rashawn Gary, and I think that's fine because I'm actually a big fan of Brian Burns. I'm kind of hoping he actually becomes elite this year and ends up being like a 70, 80 pressure guy. So we're going to grab him here. He kind of falls, but not too far. Like receivers kind of make up like a lot of the top 10. Okay, the Miami Dolphins. This is my team. I'm a Dolphins fan. Now, looking at their roster, they had no pass rush. Like Charles Harris was kind of their guy, which means they were in a bad spot. And I'm willing to like Josh Allen's in a similar boat. I think Burns has shown more than Josh Allen, but Josh Allen, like, is this a dude that will become a 70 or 80 pressure guy consistently? And that's kind of like where we're still stuck at, but I'm willing to take him here and kind of hope that he does. Okay, we're flying through this. Atlanta Falcons, they're on the clock. The defense looks rough. It kind of sucks, but it's kind of hard to pass up on who they took here. And Chris Lindstrom, who arguably is a top 5, top 3 guard in the NFL. So I think I'm just going to take him here. Kind of like, it's kind of tough to pass on maybe taking like Montez Sweat or somebody, but like, I just think Lindstrom's the correct pick. And now we're here with the Washington Commanders or whatever they were, the football team. I don't know. And I do think, okay, maybe Danny Dimes. Maybe we roll the dice. And I'm like, you know what? Screw that. They ended up taking a quarterback here, but they moved back up into the first round for actually a very good player in Montez Sweat, who has been pretty darn good for him, man. He's been great when on the field because injuries have kind of played a part at it. So I think I'm going to take him here. I think that's the right call. Carolina Panthers. All right, we got the Panthers. The offensive line was less than ideal. Obviously, tackles not in the books, at least in my opinion. They got Taylor Moton. So maybe grabbing their guard positions aren't good. Matt Paredes, honestly, is all right at this point. Like, okay, really. But maybe you get someone who could play center and play guard. Unfortunately, like Eric McCoy is kind of that guy. Another one from this interior class that's just like those 3 guys, like Jenkins, Lindstrom, McCoy, exceptionally good. They deserve to go in the top 20. They are going to the top 20. I'm going to take Eric McCoy here. Okay, am I taking Danny Dimes? Here's the $1 million question. And I don't think I am. I don't think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to be like, screw it. Maybe we get quarterback next year because you know what? You know who's waiting in 2020? I don't know. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa. So I don't think I'm going to do it. I just don't think I'm going to do it. Instead, I'm going to go with their original pick here at 17. Ended up being, in my opinion, the best pick in their class. And I'm going to take Dexter Lawrence, man. He's been a stud for them. So we leave the first round with Dexter Lawrence and Debo, and I'm feeling really good about myself. Minnesota Vikings originally take Garrett Bradbury here. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to kind of cut to the chase for the Vikings. They traded for this player this season, and he was phenomenal for him. I'm going to just get TJ Hawkinson. Totally worth it in the first round. Like, Hawkinson's a first-round player. The Tennessee Titans really sucks. Jeffrey Simmons isn't here. This draft class ends up being a banger for the Tennessee Titans. So the question is, what do I do here? And I'm looking at their receiving core, and I'm like, maybe this is where the next tier receivers maybe start to come off the board. Maybe it is. Because they don't have a vertical threat. They could use a vertical threat. I think I'm going to take Hollywood Brown. This is definitely, I think, begins his range. So we're going to snag him here. Now I'm here with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it's really tempting to take Deontay Johnson. He's been very good for him, but this is a team, like this year, they really wanted a linebacker. And you know what? This is a team that really wants that athletic linebacker. They love their athletes at linebacker. We've seen it with like Lawrence Timmons and Vince Williams, Ryan Shazier. So let's get that athletic menace in Devin White, man. We're going to snag him here. I know he can be hit or miss, but the athletic traits are there. Okay, we got the Seattle Seahawks here. This is one of 2 picks. I think originally the Packers trade up to get Darnell Savage. There we go. So what am I going to do for the Seahawks? I'm looking at the corner position. They have Shaquille Griffin, and that's basically it. I think they got Trey Flowers there, that's just bad. And I'm going to go with who I think is one of the most underrated corners in the NFL. As you can see, this corner class just ends up not being that good. Greedy Williams, Byron Murphy ends up being one of the better corners in this class, but I think the best corner in this class is, in my opinion, Jameel Dean. People sleep on him. He is big, he is athletic, and right up the alley for the Seahawks. Okay, Baltimore Ravens. We're sitting here with, man, they have nobody at receiver. Hollywood Brown was their pick, huh? And they have nobody at receiver. Man. Woof, woof, woof. They have nobody at receiver. Hollywood's now with the Titans. You know what? Honestly, just get in Lamar Jackson, someone that, like, Deontay Johnson makes sense here. Get in Lamar Jackson, someone who's just deadly underneath, who can create separation. Maybe not necessarily the best after the catch, but like he's still a hell of a good receiver. Where are you at? Where are you at, my guy? Like Deontay Johnson's still a hell of a good receiver. I think you start to begin forming that receiving core for Lamar. All right, the Houston Texans took Titus Howard here. And I just think there's better options at the tackle position. If we want to go tackle, I think they should. There's just better options. You got, it depends on what you want. Like Jonah Williams is like just a good average tackle. You got Jawan Taylor, very good pass blocking tackle. Dillard, he's looked fine in relief. That's about all I can say about him. Caleb McGarry is one of the better run blocking tackles. So what do you want at tackle? And Titus Howard's had his hiccups, but he's kind of become a solid guy. I think I'm just going to take Jonah Williams. I think that's probably the right call. Just creep closer to average on that offensive line. Okay, we took Maxx Crosby. Crosby at pick 4. Now what do we want to do with the Raiders? And you know what? Like, I kind of maybe just want to go with best player available because, like, the value's kind of insane for a guy like Ed Oliver at this point. And having him come in, you got Maxx Crosby as well. Like, one of the biggest weaknesses of the Raiders have kind of been the interior of that defense. So I think I'm going to go with Ed Oliver. So we're kind of renovating the defensive front there for the Raiders. Philadelphia Eagles. And I was looking at the roster, and the Eagles roster really starts to become lackluster after this season. And this is technically the guy that I think is linebacker 1 in this class. I know people fight tooth and nail to say, no, Devin White's so freaking phenomenal, great athlete. They just look at his sack numbers, really. But Drake Greenlaw, I think, is actually... TJ Edwards is also a guy. But Greenlaw is the better athlete. Greenlaw has been a very good number 2 for Fred Warner. So we're going to snag him here for the Eagles. Indianapolis Colts. Now, Andrew Luck doesn't retire until August, so I have to draft like I'm expecting Andrew Luck is going to be my quarterback going into the season. Or else I would honestly take Danny Dimes here. But I don't know that Andrew Luck's about to retire. I don't really know the hindsight of the prospects. So I think this isn't the draft they get Grover Stewart, is it? No, this isn't the draft. They got him the year before. And he ends up being a fine player for him. But Christian Wilkins is just, like, he's starting to emerge to be an above average. He's more than just a solid guy. Like, he's kind of that dude. Is he elite? No. But he is like that next tier. So I think I'm going to go with Christian Wilkins. Okay, this is the next pick for the Raiders. And, oh, man. I think this just ends up being a total rebuild of the Raiders' defense. Like, their defense has a lot of holes. I was considering Byron Murphy, but I think I want to go with the safety class here. Chauncey Gardner wouldn't be a bad option, but I think I'm going to go with Juan Thornhill, another guy that's kind of underrated and underlooked at. He did a lot of things for that Chiefs defense, and I think he's probably the better fit for a Jack Del Rio defense than CJ Gardner Johnson. So I'm going to go with Juan Thornhill. So we just did a total, we're starting the total rebuild of that defense for the Raiders. Okay, we got the Los Angeles Chargers. The right tackle spot was pretty wide open. They draft Trey Pipkins in this class, but in hindsight, maybe we go with a better tackle option there. And you got to think who's a good fit for the guy there currently is Anthony Lynn. There we go. So we're dealing with like an outside zone blocking scheme. So I'm already thinking Jawan Taylor, good athlete. Caleb McGarry's more of this inside zone guy. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Jawan Taylor. Like I'm telling y'all guys, you're gonna see this draft class kind of falls off a little bit. It kind of falls off now that we're picking at this range. Like we're not necessarily getting studs. All right, so Seattle Seahawks. This is pick 2. We grabbed Jameel Dean. And you know what? Like, I'm not saying, like, maybe we try and get a Legion of Boom back together because secondary is kind of now in a rebuild. And I just brought up Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I really, really want him. I think I'm going to snag Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. So now we're just rebuilding the defense there for Seattle, the secondary. We grabbed Jameel Dean, Boehner pick. CJ Gardner-Johnson's phenomenal as well. All right, we have the Green Bay Packers. We grabbed Brian Burns. Do we stick with the defense? Because they're still looking at their secondary, they're still coming together. They grabbed Jair Alexander the year before. But maybe grab it. There's a guy in here who could play both safety and nickel. I'm not talking about Darnell Savage. I think Savage at this point is probably better day 2. I'm actually talking about... Oh, I bet she's listed with the corners. I'm talking about Julian Love, who just signed a contract with Seattle Seahawks. He could play in the nickel. He could play safety. He kind of fits the defense here. It would be a good fit for there with what they have, Adrian Amos at this point. So... I'm going to go with that. So we get a defensive overhaul. And now we have the Rams. And the Rams actually trade out of this pick. Kind of is what it is. Jared Goff, we're just going to stick with them for now. I don't think Danny Dimes is this improvement over Goff. As we can see now, they're both... You would probably say they're both kind of in the same tier. You know what? I think... Looking at the corner, like Byron Murphy's a good scheme fit. I really do. I think Byron Murphy's a good scheme fit for the Rams. Corner's such a volatile position. And yeah, man, it's just important to have really good corners in that cornerback room. All right, finally, we have the New England Patriots. And you know what? Like, I don't have to have my eggs completely in the Danny Dimes basket here. Like, I'm not one of those guys. I prefer not to have to have all my eggs in the basket of Danny Dimes. But we're picking here at 32. You're the New England Patriots. Like, you get to sit behind Tom Brady for a year. I think that's kind of nice. So I'm going to grab Danny Dimes for the New England Patriots. We're going to go ahead and save that. And actually, my internet just went out, but that's my draft. Go ahead, let me know what you think of this redraft in the comment section below. This is a ton of fun, and you know what? It only gets more fun with the 2020 class, as we're going to do that one next week. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.